I'm just going to show you how I quickly freeze onions for stir frying or with steak when I have overages. My neighbors have a ton. So this is the French fry one. And if you peel one off and look at it, when it cooks, it's going to go into these little pieces. So it's just like you diced it. All of these, dropping them, all of these will cook and be about that size. Even though they look longer like this when you're freezing them, they will go smaller. So if I had two hands, I would pull those off. And they look like that when they're chopped. And then I just put them in double freezer baggies and put them in the freezer. If it's a large onion, which I have, you can cut it in half or quarters to fit it in. This one was actually, I tried sticking it in. I don't know if you can see the lines, but it was too wide. So I had to cut it into quarters. And I was showing how you can slice it very quickly with this, but it works better on a whole onion. Sorry, it's a bad angle, this light. It works much better. You can see that those are sliced in a uniform slice, but I would use the smaller whole onions for that rather than the larger ones, as it's hard to push it through when they're like this. This is the tool that you use for that. You just set it in there and push. That's okay. So they're all through there, but you kind of have to work it with your hand, and you have to take off any of the larger outer pieces to use this particular slicing thing. But now you can see how great those are. You can make onion rings, battered onion rings this way. It works really well. This is I got this at a secondhand store. I've had several of these over the years. They've got those kind of slide kind that you can use, but I personally like this one because it contains it and it tells me how many cups I have. And then I have a seal and meal that I use if I'm going to put it long term in the freezer, but if it's just going to go in my, like I only have a few and I'm going to put them in my freezer, I just double bag them. Sometimes I triple bag them depending on if they smell heavily or not. The other way you can do them is quarters. If I'm putting in a roast, then I cut them, obviously this is a huge onion, I wouldn't do that piece in a quarter, but on a regular onion, I would just quarter it, and this one I would probably slice it into thirds, put it in a bag, and then when I have a roast that I want to throw in, I just take out that bag of, I have 3 different sizes that I use when I cook, and I have those all labeled in the freezer bags. Roast, one for roast, one for steak and onions, liver and onions. I like the long, thinner ones, like these ones we just did. And if I'm stir frying them, the kids don't like the longer ones, so I do them in this potato-sized one so that they can break off and be smaller. Because once these heat up, they're going to break off into smaller kind of chunks. That's 2 right there. So that, and then those cooked are much smaller. So I have the 3 sizes that I do when I freeze them, but I just wanted to show you how I do the quicker with this little chopper, handy chopper, rather than a food processor or something. They're not as uniform and it takes a little bit longer, and they get a little bit more slimy with a food processor. So you can see these are not slimy at all. They look great. They're staying together pretty well. I didn't cut the end off as well as I probably should have on that one, but you can see how pretty even those slices are. If I can get a darker background, you can see how beautiful that is. Sliced great. So anyway, just thought I'd share that with you.